All right, I'm here. Hopefully people can see me. Question. Question. Okay. Awesome. So I'm assuming everybody can see me and hear me. Hello to everyone dropping into the chat right now. How you guys doing? Yay, I see people showing up. I'm keeping one eye on my fitness ball. It's trying to escape right now. I just found a new buble flavor I like. It's mango buble. Is it bubbly? And I just want to call it buble to make it sound fancy. Bubbly. We're gonna call it bubbly. All right. So basically, this chat is for you guys. I don't really have anything prepared, anything I want to talk about. So as long as everybody can kind of see and hear me now, this chat is for you guys to like just throw questions at me. I feel like a lot of times in chats I can't really pay attention because I come in with like an agenda, and so excuse me. This mango buble just gave me a nice belch. So yeah, I'm here for you guys. What is going on? I can tell you what's going on with me right now. I am working on my other van project, which is in the back of the van, as opposed to right behind me. But it all kind of looks like a wreck right now. I'm trying to do some neater organization in the back. I'm reorganizing all of my cords because my solar cords were just like a spider's web of like meh. So I'm trying to organize that, and I'm working on my shelving in the back. So that's what's going on with me right now. But yeah. Talk to me. Hello to everybody who's dropping in right now. Nicholas says, "Do I know the Muffin Man?" Who lives on Drury Lane? I really wish I could pull up a clip of like the gingerbread man from Shrek right now. Sandy, savings. My plan is to drop it in my savings account and leave it there. I have spent most of my time with this van without a savings account. So it's nice to like finally be able to say, hey, I'm going to drop that money in savings and I'm going to leave it there so that the next time something major happens, I have some sort of nest egg to take care of it without putting myself more in debt. I mean, like my desperation point has always been just throw it on a credit card, but then you owe the credit card, you end up paying interest on the credit card. Like even if I have to overpay a mechanic, if they actually fix it, it's nice to know I've paid them in cash and I don't still owe on that. So it's like when you do it on a credit card, you repair the car and you still owe on the darn repair. So having a little nest egg to kind of, soften that blow is huge for me. Am I stationary or do I travel? I have a day job. So like usually I'm in the place. Well, I have contract to contract employment. So I travel when I'm not on contract. Like I do stuff when I can. The last like year has been tight, so it's been a lot of stationary. I've mostly been in Berkeley, California. Right now I'm in Ashland, Oregon. I was supposed to have a job here. I worked for about 3 days before COVID-19 kind of took that job away. So yeah, that's my situation right now. What else we got? When do you head south, or do you have to be out of the rental? It's not a rental. It's I pay no rent on it. It's literally the housing they were going to let me stay in to do the job, and I've been able to stay there an extended amount of time. So there is no rental because I don't pay any rent to be there. Dorian Nash, the plan is June. That's when I'm planning to go back, June. So like I have basically a couple of weeks to kind of finish up what I want to finish, and then I'm going to head back home, I guess you can call it. There's stuff I need to take care of, and so like I can't really do that from far away. It was a lot of waiting out sort of COVID-19 to see where things were going to land. And I think I feel like I'm going to be okay going back. I'm not really worried about it. But yeah, the plan is June. Whoa. If you can't see the chat, try refreshing your screen. That happened to me as well. And one time I had to like check out of the whole screen and then come back in, and that seemed to reboot the chat. So if you can't see the chat, try leaving YouTube and coming back to YouTube. And I remember that happened to me because I wondered why nobody was chatting, and then like I actually had to leave YouTube and come back, and the chat came back. It was really weird. I'm gonna be really slow catching up with you guys because you guys are faster than me. I answered that question. Yeah. Bob, I hope that answered your question. Like completely leave YouTube and come right back in, and it might pop back up. Julie, absolutely. Or even if I decide like to, go somewhere that's not, California, like assuming nothing major happens, like there shouldn't be anything major. Like I shouldn't have anything else to do on this van except like regular maintenance, an oil change, I think maybe in the next couple of months. Tire should be pretty decent, but like if something happens, even if it's not van related, if I'm in any kind of emergent, like I've been like skating on like, damn near nothing for the last year and a half. Like I've been basically, struggling month to month, and have a little something where I know if something happens, I have a little nest egg is really, really nice. And so I thought it was the smartest thing to do is to make sure I put like a little bit of a nest egg away. And if something happens, now I have the ability to like not be drowned by that something or have to go back into the credit card debt I've been digging myself out of. By the way, I used to have 4 credit cards I was paying off. I'm now down to 2. So I feel pretty good about that. I had 4, I'm down to 2. So that's good. Would you ever consider moving out of the Bay Area long term? Depends on work. I mean, right now it's just that I have the most solid connections for regular work there. I mean, ideally, I'd like to be in a more disconnected position. Like my perfect setup would be that I actually work jobs in different states. Like I would actually have contract to contract positions in different states, but still like trying to convince people to hire you out of state is really like a lot of times, even in my field, for like, short-term positions, a lot of times they're still looking for local people, and local people get the priority first. So getting that expansive contact where I could actually like jump from state to state, on contract to contract basis just hasn't happened, but that would be my ideal situation. It's just worked out that the Bay Area and the surrounding area has been where I had the most contacts. And so it's just where I found the most jobs, and you can't travel without money. So you have to earn the money first. Woo, oh, Baja Queen, thank you for the $9.99 super chat. Absolutely appreciated and loved. Thank you so much. I feel like I'm like way too chill right now. Will you go to Canada to meet Chrome? I'd love to spend more time with Chrome. I've already met Chrome at his Christmas thing. But I had work, so I wasn't able to stay for a long time. So I basically like drove from the Bay Area to Vancouver in like a day. And my leg was hurting by the time I got there. And unfortunately, it was nighttime, so I didn't get to film a lot. But yeah, I actually got to meet Chrome in Vancouver already, but we didn't really get to spend a lot of time together. It was a crowded event, and we haven't really gotten to really reconnect again since then. Right now, obviously, COVID-19 is going on, so I don't know the next time I'd be able to go to Canada. So that's sort of a thing that's on hold while we sort of like wait this thing out a little bit more. So yeah, there's a lot that I can't plan right now because we don't know what's going to happen with this COVID-19 situation. So that's where that's at. Wow, hello from Vietnam. I didn't know I had people way out of there. Any jobs set up? No. Right now, I'm in a very giant question mark position, which is why anything I cannot spend right now is very important. So right now, it's like unemployment, which is enough to like get by, especially now that I have a little bit of a nest egg. Like I said, I got my stimulus check. I have nest egg money. Right now, I have unemployment. So right now, it's about like putting money away. While I sort of wait this out a little bit more. The thing is, like, theater has a lot to figure out before it's starting back up again. As far as like audience distancing and what's going on backstage and what's going on stage. So I'm not expecting it to like snap back like that because it's just not that kind of world. Like people who work sort of in the office positions in theater and are sort of in the higher up positions are basically like just trying to figure out how to even put on a show right now when we need to be so careful about social distancing. So right now I don't have any jobs set up because where those things would start to trickle down to me just haven't happened yet. I'm probably on the lowest tier of concern in that regard. So right now, no. If I absolutely needed to find some employment, like if it got that bad, and it's like I'm looking for stuff, you know, in my field for the future. But if it absolutely got like terrible, of course, obviously, I would start exploring other options. But right now, no, nothing set up, nothing, you know, in the immediate future that's already planned. I've had jobs canceled that were coming up. I should have been working, in fact, another position in the Bay at this point, and that got canceled. How are you doing with your exercise plan? It's still going decent. I'm gonna do a little update on that on on Monday. I had a little bit of a setback. Yeah, but I like mostly it's going good. Like excuse me, I'm like staying on track. I haven't like really like boomerang back in any way that's terrible. Honestly, I have nothing else to focus on right now, so it's really easy. It's going to be much harder when I'm back to working, when I'm back to having long days. Like it on the overall, it's easy because of the situation we're in, just to focus on that. The trick is going to be when life starts bringing in those conflicts that are going to get in the way. And that's actually going to be harder than where I am right now. And again, thank you. The super chats are already always appreciated. You know, I think I already. So Tina says, so your job isn't coming back. My particular one, no. Right now, like I said, the company's reorganizing, like a lot of companies. And so like there isn't like all the people who were working are back because basically my job kind of works on a schedule. So they plan their seasons like a year before, like before you even like see posters go up, they are planning the season. Rehearsals are set at a specific time. The show is set at a specific time. And it has to do with a lot of space use things. So it's like, it isn't like you just open back up and you start back where you ended, because that's impossible. So like you have to really reorganize before you can even think about opening back up. There's just a lot of complicated steps in it. It's not like, oh, like, not to cheapen other businesses, because I'm not cheapening it, but like if you sell books, let's say, and you had to close your bookstore, well, the books are just sitting there. So like when you're ready to open back up, you just go back, you open back up the store, and you call back the employees that you want to call back. With a theater job, it doesn't work that way. So it isn't like the theater itself will start up again. It's already making plans to start up again, but that has nothing to do with the job that I was contracted for. That job is pretty much gone. And if I ever work for OSF again, it would be like to be rehired for whatever reorganized programming they do in the future, and that may or may not happen. Like, I literally have no idea. It's not something I can count on or plan for, if that makes any sense. You're way more than welcome to stop in Sacramento on your way back. I'll buy you lunch or dinner. Thank you for the invite. Hopefully I'll remember that. I feel like I have so much to do. My brain is going crazy. By the way, anybody who's reached out to me on email, I'm sorry. I am so behind on emails. And honestly, for most of April, my brain was just in a bad place. I didn't know what was going to happen, what I should do. How to move forward, and it took a minute for me to even get myself back together. So yeah, I apologize for any emails I haven't replied to that have been sent for a minute now. I'm just behind on emails that are unrelated to the direct situation. So my email I use for the YouTube channel, I'm way behind on because I've been tracking work emails and a lot of other like news things. So I apologize. I'm going to try to catch up on those. Some of them are probably irrelevant at this point. Any plans for the 2021 RTR? Don't know yet. I really don't know. It just depends on so much. Like the 2020 RTR I did not go to because I was working and I had work commitments, and that's what I decided to do. And it was the right thing to do, honestly, for me to move forward as much as I've moved forward, like financially, where I was a year and a half ago. It's way different than now. So it's such an improvement. It was the right choice. 2021, it depends, honestly. It depends on where I am with work, where I am in life. I cannot plan for January right now. My going or not going to the RTR really has a lot to do with if I'm working or not. I would love to go to more social events as a nomad. I seem to not know when any of these things happen and I hear about them by accident. And sometimes either I'm in a situation where I can't go, or just life doesn't work out that way. Oh crap, I'll be right back. My ball is escaping. The wind tried to take my ball away. So I had to run after it. All right. Do you find it hard to date while living in a van? I don't try. That's basically what it comes down to. I mean, honestly, it's just not a thing I think about. It's not a thing I try to do. Like, if it happened on its own, like in the natural course of life, great. But it's not something I look for. It's not something I push for, and it's not something I'm trying for. It's a very low to insignificant priority. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Yeah, and that's my best way to answer that. I just don't think about it. Let me see. One has to go: McDonald's, Burger King, Wendys, Taco Bell. I'm trying to avoid all of those right now because all of those have gotten me in trouble in the past. I was pretty addicted to Taco Bell though before I kicked fast food out of my diet. So maybe Taco Bell would win, which is funny because I hated Taco Bell as a kid. But yeah, Wendy's has some pretty good stuff. They have pretty good Frosties. It depends. They have different stuff. And they're all bad for me right now, so I'm avoiding them all. Do you do meetups with others? I'm not sure if you mean like planned events or like people specifically meeting me, or what the context of that question is, I guess. I try. It's not something I strive or don't strive for. I kind of take opportunities as they come and actually as they work out. So it's like, it's not like I'm for or against them. I have a really hard time like planning anything where I'm like, I'm gonna be here, because I just don't plan well that far in the future. That's why I rarely like in this case I planned this live, but I've rarely pre-announced because it's hard for me to plan when to meet up with other people or when to make myself free, especially because I've worked so much like the past year and a half. And so it's a lot of just getting through the day to work and like, going to bed at 9, figuring out where I'm going to park. And so like, I haven't really had a lot of like now, obviously I'm in a place where there's a lot of flexibility and a lot of open windows, but also I was trying to just figure out what was going on as far as like social events, social distancing, respecting that, and also keeping myself as healthy as possible. So it's like now I have the time, but the world's not in a place for those kind of things. And before I just didn't have the time or the ability to really plan like that. And so I didn't. Because I had to keep myself open for whatever work opportunities were going to come, or to supplement the fact that work wasn't coming. And so I just haven't had that ability to plan in the past. It's not something like I said, it's not something I'm for. I'm not something I'm against. If other banner events are going on and I am free enough to go to them, I'm excited to go to them because they're fun. And it's nice to meet other people who are sort of like in the same mode as you. Yes. I don't know what question I skipped. I'm not quite sure. Woo! Oh, this chat is getting away from me. Ooh, and it's hot. The computer's getting hot out here. It's been really hot. Wonderful smile. I love your upbeat thoughts. Thank you so much. I'm sure that's true for a lot of people, Debbie. Yes, I'm still in housing. I am going to be until the end of May. Cynthia says, you always have a smile and a very positive person. How do you keep up the positivity? I don't know. I think this is just who I am naturally. And I really don't like being miserable. There's a couple of times I've done like rants on camera. But I don't really like that. Like, I don't like the energy of that. Like, usually I know some people are like, oh, when bad stuff happens, why don't you turn on the camera? And the fact is, I'm just not motivated to. And it's not because I don't want to talk about bad things. I will talk about things that are bad and not great, about traveling and van life and all that other kind of stuff and all those struggles. I'll happily talk about them. I'll happily say, you know what? Like, being super hot in a van isn't fun. Like, being super cold in a van isn't fun. Like, having to fetch water isn't fun. Like, figuring out how to get to showers isn't fun. None of that stuff is fun. It's more about what you get out of it. And if you're getting mostly positive stuff out of it, there's no need to be negative, because like any type of, there's no perfect life. There's no perfect situation. And I just don't see a point in I hate negative energy. I hate being negative. And so I think that's just who I am. I don't want to be negative. And so like that energy, I go on so long and then I'm like way behind. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, I'm just me. And that's how it is. Debbie Hawley says, can you explain what you do again? Okay. So my professional career path is stage manager. What a stage manager does is they basically run theatrical productions. people don't really understand what it means to manage the stage. But yeah, so you're in there from the rehearsal process through the show going on stage. So in the rehearsal process, you're basically working with the director. The director is like interpreting the play and working with the actors and sort of setting the design base, even though there will be designers who come in and actually do the actual designing. A lot of times the stage manager is keeping schedules, they're keeping a book. In the book, they're going to have blocking, they're going to have paperwork, they're going to basically track every bit of information about this show. When a show goes on stage, normally a director goes away. Like once the show's on stage, the director goes away. And so the purpose of all that time in the rehearsal room with the stage manager basically tracking every piece of information about the show. And in addition to the rehearsals, stage managers go to all the design meetings. There's a whole bunch of stuff you have to do. But basically, you've kept a book, a Bible, that has tracked every bit of information about the show. And then as the show goes on stage, you are basically there, one, to call the show. And what calling a show is basically you tell lights and sound when to go, which is an oversimplification, but that's basically it. And sometimes there's stuff like things that have to fly in. You're basically like this invisible controller of everything. The designers have designed the lights, the designers have designed to sound, the costumes, all the other stuff, but you're the person in charge of organizing it and making sure it all happens on time, every show, every time, as much the same as possible. I would say the same, but it's a lie. Every show is a little bit different. So that's basically like the stage manager's job. The stage manager's usually there before everybody else. They're organizing the props, they're tracking the props, et cetera, et cetera. So I was not out here to stage manage, which is the top leader of the team. Stage managers also have what's called assistant stage managers, because stage managers have a lot to do. And so sometimes they need an assistant. And usually the stage manager's in what's called the booth, where the lighting board is and the sound board is, and they're calling to the board operators. So a lot of times your ASMs, and this isn't true for every production, your assistant stage managers are backstage running sort of the backstage situation and making sure all those stage manager jobs that need to happen are happening backstage while the stage manager can't be there. They're usually on headset with the stage manager and talking to the stage manager about what's going on back there. They're confirming actors are in place. They may be giving actors goes. They may be stuffed behind a couch so that a magical moment happens. And then you have your stage crew under that, which can just be regular stage crew, PAs, or people with a specific skill set, such as wardrobe people, lighting people who are there for crew positions, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, I don't know if that really explained it. It's hard to really explain a stage manager not being in theater, because a lot of people don't really understand how much goes on behind the scenes to make on the scene happen. And basically, you have to work your way up to sort of quote unquote professional stage managers. I've been a stage manager in smaller theaters, and now I'm trying to move on to larger theaters. But that transition means you have to be a crew member first, and then eventually be a production assistant, and then eventually be an assistant stage manager. And hopefully eventually you're a union equity stage manager, because that's going to get you more benefits being in the union than not being in the union. But you have to earn points to be in the union. You can't just walk up to the union and join. Oh, that was a lot. But the plan is to become, a unionized stage manager so I can get paid a little better for what I do. Let's move on to simpler questions. Have you ever been on the East Coast? I am from the East Coast. I'm from Baltimore. I've only been on the West Coast going on 3 years now. So Berkeley's been my home for almost 3 years. But before that, I lived in Maryland and DC. And yeah, that's it. Maryland and DC for 30 something years of my life. Aside from work, has COVID changed your routine? So for the better or worse? It's really hard to say, because I was in such an unusual situation. As I was here for work, I wasn't in my normal situation. I was in housing. And so like, it didn't really impact me as like a vanner. Really, it impacted me in like, I was already in out of my normal state, out of my normal housing situation. and then I was just reacting to what was going on. So it hasn't really impacted me in that way because I haven't been in my normal circumstances as it's been happening. I've already been in unusual circumstances from the moment it happened. And that sort of changed what was going on. Ever consider fan sponsorship for your trip back to the Bay? I don't know what that means. Chenna, thank you for the 1999 super chat. I really appreciate it. And if I'm behind on any super chats, forgive me. I'm doing a really slow scroll so I don't miss any questions. So yeah. Thank you so much, Miss Douglas. Kim C, I don't know if somebody else already answered this, but I'm still in housing. And I will be till the end of May. I'm just out here working on the van, and then I dropped in for this live while I was working on it. Victoria, thank you for the $1.99 super chat. Ooh, $10. I can't even read. Oh wait, I don't know. I'm so confused. Thank you for the super chat. I also have a horrible glare on this screen. I love your positive outlook in life. I've been watching your channel for some time now. Such an inspiration. Take care, Dawn. Thank you so much. Whoop! It did it again. It did it again. Let me see. Okay, let's see here. Hey, darling, glad to see your beautiful smile. How are things going through you during this pandemic? You may have answered this. I mean, I don't know what else to say, but fine. Like, as much as things could have worked out okay considering the situation, it's okay. Like I'm not like dying. Like, obviously, like I have the things I need to survive, and so like I'm okay. Like there's like, it's not like, oh my god, this is terrible, you know. Like I'm surviving okay, and giving myself the weight loss journey really gave me something to focus on, so that's helped a lot. Let's see, what's this question? Thoughts on finding work in different areas? Leaving the theater and industry will allow you to travel more. I don't know what I have the skill set for that wouldn't actually trap me more. Because at least with contract to contract work, there's windows between contracts. So my question would be, what area? Most of what I've done outside of this has been like labor jobs, and those have definitely been less free than the kind of work I do now, which is much more free because contracts are going to end at some point. And assuming they don't overlap, sometimes you get windows in between them, but I don't know exactly what I specifically have the skill set for that would be more free than the life I have now. Yeah. Anything that looks like it's canceled, it's been answered, canceled. I'm going to kind of scan through. This question is interesting. What has been your biggest reduction? I don't know. I mean, because what do you define as big? A lot of people, a bigger sort of theater company. Every Shakespeare is big because Shakespeare's just tend to have larger casts. And that's just the number of cast members. It doesn't necessarily mean that the production itself was big in the traditional sense. I was a production management intern. They call it a fellow, but whenever I say fellowship, people think it's religious. Technically, the program is called the fellowship program, but I was a production management fellow at Berkeley Rep when they did Ain't Too Proud. So I wasn't specifically in stage management. Production management is sort of an adjoining skill set. And so I was there to do that internship / fellowship, whichever you want to call it. I like to call it internship because it causes less confusion with people, even though technically the program's called a fellowship program. But you're basically there to do a job. And again, it gets into you are assisting the production manager. So you're basically like a second assistant stage production manager. Because there is on staff a production manager and an assistant or associate production manager. The title changed, but it's basically the same job. And I was basically an assistant to both of them. And that was a pretty big production and went to Broadway and made a lot of money. As far as like what I've worked at as a crew member, probably also at Berkeley Rep. There was another musical I worked on that was pretty big. But I guess like big doesn't matter to me. So I don't know. Maybe Ain't You Proud. And again, that was as a more in the production management department than the stage management department, which is actually two different things. But they do have adjoining skill sets, and a lot of stage managers, when they're starting to want like a settled down, more permanent job, they will end up going into production management. It's fairly common. Cynthia Hayes says, I'm planning on retiring 2 years and getting a travel trailer. 13-foot was the first thing I should do. What to buy for emergencies, what to see. That's a lot of questions. But I always say the first thing you should do is take an experimental trip based on the style of travel that you want to have. Don't like try something that's unrelated to what you want to do. So if you're like, hey, I want to learn how to be out on BLM land and camp for 2 weeks at a time, like try that as close to your house as possible, and it'll give you a lot of clues of what you want. Nothing teaches you how to live in a van or RV more than living in a van or RV. And like you can take hints from other people's channels and other people's experiences, but like you're going to try stuff other people do, and then you're going to find out it's not for you, and you're either going to try something else somebody else is doing, or you're going to experiment. I would not overbuy. Most of us, including me, end up buying stuff that we realize we don't need because we saw it on somebody's channel and we were like, oh, that thing seems smart, let me get me one of those. And then you get it and you realize you don't need it. Because you're talking about something that's more RV like, I would actually ask people who, if you can find them, and maybe like going through like Bob Wells's people is the best way to do that. If you can find people who have a trailer or situation similar to yours, they're the best people to ask, because, you know, getting into an outfitted RV is different from building up a blank van. Even if you build that van up to like RV standards, they're two different things. They're very different experiences. So I would say try to find somebody who's doing the lifestyle that you want to do, and, you know, ask as many questions as possible, but also experiment first. I mean, I'm all for people who get excited and just go on a giant trip right away, but it's good to take a small trip and experiment first so that you know what you're dealing with, what it feels like. Any shows have I worked on that we may know? Have you heard of Ain't You Proud? That's like the one that I feel is like the most common. How can I donate? In the description of my videos, there's always a huge list of links. You can super chat on here. There's a PayPal link, and there is a Patreon that you can join. Is the union IATSE? IATSE is for technicians. There is a union called Actors Equity Association, also known as AEA. And it is not just for actors. It's for actors and stage managers in theater. There's a separate union for actors in film commonly. So they are two separate unions for theater, stage managers. And it's because like a lot of the rehearsal rules that have to do with hourly employment also impact stage managers, because stage managers are there as long as actors. They're there from the first day of rehearsal to the close of that show. And so the stage managers union is actually wrapped into AEA, or Actors Equity Association. Now, there are stage managers in IATSE, but they're usually for like concerts and performances like that, which is a completely separate thing. It's almost a completely separate job in a way. It has similar skills, but different. So there are stage managers that are in IATSE, but usually stage managers in IATSE are doing like music concerts and public performances like that, where stage managers in Actors Equity are usually doing theatrical productions. I think you can actually be in both, but I can't remember, because there are people who are lighting designers that are also stage managers. And so they may be in IATSE because they've done lighting gigs, and then also be in AEA because they're union stage managers, or they may be in one and not the other. But no, it's not IATSE. Short answer, it is Actors Equity Association. And there is a title called stage manager in like musical performance and other types of performance. Also, opera has its own union, so it really depends on what kind of live performance work you're doing, which union will impact you the most, or which one you might decide or not decide to join. Okay, this isn't really the van life, but knowing you're from Baltimore, I have to ask, what do you think of the show The Wire? I think I haven't seen it. I know it sounds horrible. People are always shocked, and I feel like I should watch it because everybody makes me feel like I should watch it, but I've literally never seen an episode of The Wire. And they're like, you're from Baltimore? The Wire? And I'm like, I've never seen it. I've honestly never seen it. Woo. Miss Mecca says, I am currently looking for a van now to build out. Any recommendations? What can you afford? And realistically, and how much time do you want to dedicate to your build before you're in it? Because people will watch these, oh, this person built a van in like 5 days, and then they're like, I can do that after work and on the weekends, and then they are completely fooled and get sort of thrown by how long it takes to actually build out a lot of these vans. It comes down to what's it's called? Time, good, fast, and shoot. Good, fast, and cheap. That's what I was trying to think of, the trinity of good, fast, and cheap. You can have a good van and you can do it fast, but it's not going to be cheap. You can have a cheap van, and by cheap, I don't mean going to fall away. It might be a lower end van. It might not be your ideal van. And you can have it fast, but it's not going to be good. And again, by good, I don't mean running condition necessarily, even though you can fall into that trap. It just may not be, the prettiest thing that ever rolled off the lot. And so you really have to make some decisions, like how much time do you want to dedicate to your build? What is important to you? Is it getting out there quicker? Is it you're fine with taking a lot of time? It really has to do with a lot of things that are personal to you. My situation was I was desperate, and I was sick of sleeping in the front seat of a car. And so I ended up getting the van because it allowed me to put a bed in it, and it was the cheapest thing I could actually get to no longer be in a car. So you really have to look at your situation, and if you have the time to plan, take the time to plan, take the time to experiment. I mean, plenty of people have just jumped in and gone and had wonderful experiences, but a lot of people also sort of come out with unrealistic expectations. I would also say make the van as flexible as possible, whatever you end up choosing. So yeah, just be realistic about your situation. If you ain't got Mercedes money, don't expect to come out in a pimped out Mercedes. Everything's about your amount of money and what you want out of your experience. Do I know anyone personally? No, I do. Most of I have a friend whose aunt got it. I have another friend who has a friend with it, but it's always like my friend's friend, my friend's family member. I personally don't know anyone, so it's secondary first person accounts, if that makes any sense. But I personally don't know anybody firsthand who has it. What type of music do you listen to? Anything I like. I have very eclectic tastes. I do like me some classic R&B. It reminds me of my mom. I feel like the stuff I listened to in high school in the 90s is now classic R&B. Even I don't know when that happened. That's when you feel old, when the stuff you listened to in high school is suddenly now a classic. But I like a lot of R&B, especially 90s R&B that takes me back to high school, and also like sort of like older stuff that my mom used to listen to. So R&B is very, very, very high in my heart to me. I do listen to like I guess like some rock. I do like pop music, and I'm not ashamed. I like me some pop music. So yeah, I don't know if that really explains it, but also sometimes I randomly hear something in a genre I don't normally listen to, and I'm like, I like that, and I'm always open to like hearing the song and sort of deciding it. But I do tend to generate myself towards pop, and probably R&B are probably the things I listen to the most, more than anything else. No. That's an easy answer. No. Have you met any celebs, movie stars? I met, I don't know if he counts though, but I did meet Lemony Snicket. Um, I don't really encounter that many like movie stars. Like there's people in theater who to theater people are really important, but I don't know that I've met a lot of movie stars. Um, I feel like I have met somebody though, and they were so unimportant I forgot who the heck they were. When I used to do some stage crew work with a stage crew work with a company in California, I was in the same building with some music stars. To me, Lemony Snicket was a celebrity, but I don't know if that's true for anybody else. So the fact that I met Lemony Snicket and that's not his real name, by the way, and he took me out for coffee and we got to chat, like that was the coolest thing ever. So yeah, I don't know. And there's some writers who I met when they were doing playwriting who have crossed over to TV writing, but I don't think anybody knows who they are. But to me, they're celebrities because, like, they were writing some really cool shows right now. Do I have any sisters or brothers? I have 5 adopted sisters. I'm back in Baltimore. My mom was a foster parent for most of my childhood. Not most. When I was around 10 years old, she started taking kids in. A numerous amount of children came and went from our home for a numerous amount of reasons. Reunification, moved to another home. My mom would always strive to keep kids' lives as stable as possible because she was a foster child. I have no biological siblings. But I do have, my mom adopted 5 girls. It's complicated. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Hey, Maddie, I just saw you. You've probably been here for a while because I am behind. Rocket, Rhonda Lockett Morton. Thank you for the $9.99 super chat. Unrelated to hashtag van life, but hearing you from Baltimore, like, oh, I already answered that question. I've never seen it. But thank you for the $9.99 super chat. Oops. Hey, Don, when you leave Oregon, will you head straight home? Probably. I don't know that I'll go fast. I don't know that I'll be like speeding there as fast as I can. But like I said, I have to go back and take care of some stuff. Like my main address is there. All of my life stuff is there. I was supposed to be back in May. But yeah, I'm not really planning ahead a lot until June 1st. I want June 1st to come. And I feel like once June 1st is here, or at least the last day in May, like besides knowing that I'm gonna be leaving and going back towards the Bay, like I don't have any really solid plans because I don't feel like I can make them yet. There's too many things in flux, and I sort of have to let that flux happen, if that makes any sense. Yeah. Absolutely, I agree. And I've always been flexible. I mean, like, this isn't unusual for me. There's times where the jobs I wanted completely dried up. And so, like, I found ways, where is it? I found ways to work, and I always have. So, like, that's been my life anyway. It's like I work in my field for as much and as often as I can, and then when I can't, I find a way to pay the bills, and that's what it's been, and it's not going to change. I mean, that's just what my life has already been, as it were. Kev says, yay, be more Baltimore. I'm from Baltimore and you're not missing anything. I miss it because I haven't been there in 3 years and I haven't been able to afford to go back. Basically, the only thing that's in the way is money and time. I've never had a combination of enough money and time. When I've had time, I haven't had money. When I've had money, I haven't had time. And so it's never worked out that there was a good combination of both just to go back. I mean, there's people back there that I miss, that are important to me, and I don't get to see them, and I haven't seen them in quite a while, and that makes me sad. I'd love to like see those people, but of course now we're in social distancing, so like how much can you really see anybody with sort of like breaking that. I don't track it, I'm gonna be honest. I was tracking it for a while, but I don't really track it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna make up a number. What? I did not hear that. Oh, the legends are dying off, man. I did not know that. Do you plan to get a van where you can stand? Also, do you ever pitch a tent to stretch out sometimes? I never pitch a tent because I'm hardly to never in a situation where that makes any sense. So no. Again, most of this has been like while I'm working a job. And so like for sleeping, like I'm always enclosed in the van. Now, mind you, there's parks everywhere. There's a billion reasons to be outside the van, besides the fact that, when I was spending many hours at work or working, this is why I hate like doing like driving delivery jobs, which I've done in between work, is because like you're in the van all the time. And what I really like is jobs where I get to get out of the van, and I'm spending a lot of time out of the van, because smaller vans are better for that. It's better when you have the flexibility to get out of them. I would say all vans are that way, but especially smaller vans. But I don't feel this desperation because I spend so much time outside of it anyway, usually when I have to work, especially like recently, like in the past couple of months, I've pretty much been doing stage management stuff. Like I was a stage manager for a children's theater. I was an assistant stage manager for another situation. I was coming up here to be a production assistant, which is 3 levels down from the stage manager job. And so like I was spending a lot of time, like I came back to the van to go to sleep. So I was cooking and going to sleep in there. And that's it. So there wasn't like, oh, I'm so trapped, I need to like pitch tent. There was no need for that because like I was already spending a lot of time like not at home. I was at work a lot of the time. So I got up in the morning and I went to work. And like a lot of people with jobs, I came back home, at night. I think like in a camping situation, it's completely different. I went to RTR. I still didn't. What I found out is I don't like to have a lot of stuff outside of my van. Like I like the idea of like park and go. And so like it's nice to have like a site where you can be and you're not quote unquote being stealth, but it's I don't like the idea of spreading out and then having to pack it all back up. Not in the extreme sense. I like the idea of like whenever I just stick a key in and I drive off. But yeah, I haven't felt the need to because like life hasn't put me in that situation so much. And when I really just want to get out, there's parks. There's a lot of places to be during the day that's not necessarily inside. You can even go to a mall. Like sometimes you just go to a mall or a library or something and work on your computer. If you can't really like go anywhere because you have to be at work the next day, or like, you only have 2 days off, before you have to work again. In my case, a lot of times it was 1 day off. Because a lot of times shows run 6 days a week with 1 day off. As you start to get into the higher tiers and the lower tiers of theater, you maybe do like 3 or 4 days a week, maybe like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But as I started getting more like regular work where like there was more like real pay, as I like to call it, then a lot of times those shows were like 6 days a week. So 6 days a week I was working, and I had 1 day that was like a chill day. So there wasn't a lot of like desperation to get out the van and all the other type of stuff. But I've never needed a tent. No. Kavita Man, I saw your question and then it rolled away from me. But to answer the question, I'm still in housing till the end of May. I'm just working on projects. What's to say? I'm just gonna. So I have a funny story, which isn't really answering a question. A while ago, I had a professor, and he came to class and he told us the story. And I think he went to like a coffee place or something, and he looks at his receipt and he was shocked because it was less than he was used to paying. And he realized he got the senior discount. And he was like, should I be upset that they think I'm a senior, or happy I got the discount? And it was the most hilarious thing ever. I loved it. Do you have an aspiration to do TV or movies? I used to. I went to college for film and theater. And now I use a lot of those editing skills for YouTube, which is really, really funny. And at one point I was like, I want to do both. And I always wanted to work backstage. I never wanted to be in front of the camera, even though that's where I am right now. And so there was at one point sort of the goal to do both. And it's just worked out that I just haven't built the connections in that direction. And so like this has become my life. Yeah, and at this point I'm just open to what happens. I'm not really like gung-ho that I need to be in that particular area. And I don't know, like I know people who are in the film and TV industry. There's people I graduated with who like said forget it, it's too insecure, and so they went and got like standard jobs. I know people who are doing other things with their video skills, like they edit commercials. They mostly work from home. They get delivered footage, they edit it, they send it out, and that's how they're making money from sort of their degree. And then there's people who moved to LA, and some of those people are doing okay. But it's a tough road. Like it is a tough road to break into. And much like theater, much like anything in the entertainment industry, it's a lot of hustle. And not having a lot of money while you're hustling. And I don't know, like I'm 40 now. And so I don't really feel like fighting in that hustle anymore. And I kind of want to stay on a path where I can kind of get somewhere where I'm stable. I don't feel like I want to be in the game with fighting with 21-year-olds for like a set job anymore. Like, I mean, I already graduated college late, and life has pushed me more towards theater than TV or film. And that's been hard enough, and I enjoy what I do, so I don't really feel the need to flip it. And I definitely do not want to be fighting with the 20-year-olds to be schlepping stuff around set. I'm kind of over that, and I'm ready to sort of move on into things that are slightly more secure. I still don't want to feel trapped to any one thing. I like having a flexible life, but I also, I don't want to be scrapping with the 20-year-olds to schlep stuff around set and deliver coffee. I already do enough of that in theater. So yeah. I have aspirations to find my own creative path, as it were, at this point. And YouTube is a part of that. Yeah. No, and I don't want to go. I've been told that I should go to Atlanta, but it's still like whenever you go to a new place, it's that whole like starting over again, trying to make ties. It's not like, you get there and like, it's right there and you can knock on doors. So yeah, it's wherever you go to a new place, you got to start over again with making connections. And that's, yeah. Do you factor in weather when deciding where to accept jobs? Nope. My only question is, how much does it pay? Thank you so much. What kind of contract work do you perform? I've talked about this as stage management and jobs related to stage management, but mostly it's stage management for theater. I do odd jobs when I can't find anything else and I just need to pay the bills. But as far as like my actual career path, that's what my career path is. You're not 40. You don't look at what No, I was born October the 18th, 1979. So yes, that's I am 40 years old. Thank you so much. I don't think I look 20. Maybe I can pull off like mid to late 30s, but I don't think I look 20. But yeah, no, I'm 40. Tina, thank you so much for all the hard work. You are rocking it. Thank you so much. Let me see there. Exactly, Annie. I'm like, at this point, like, I'm done fighting with the 20-year-olds. Let them do their thing. Thank you so much, Carla. Carla, just you being here and supporting this channel is important to me. And this channel, like I wrote when I was younger. I wrote fiction. I never wrote nonfiction. People are like, you should write your story. And I'm like, I don't really do nonfiction. Like I like the escapist of fiction. So that is something I want to get back to. Having a community on YouTube and being able to creatively produce videos is also feeding my desire that I've always had to be a storyteller. I mean, one of the reasons I majored in film and theater in college is because I like to tell stories. I like to be a part of telling stories. And so YouTube is a huge part. And I never expected it to go in this direction. I started it for very different reasons, but it's become this big part of sort of the creative side of me, and it feeds a big part of the creative side of me. So it's become a much bigger part of my life than I ever expected it to. And just being here, watching videos, giving me feedback on videos, being in my lives, talking with me, like all of that is helpful to the person I think I'm going to be moving forward. And I'm trying to figure out who that is and what she wants, because I don't know that she wants the same things Dawn 2 years ago wanted. So I feel like I'm also in a place of just figuring out who future Dawn is. And she may not be who Dawn 2 years ago was, because there's other things I'm looking for. And so I'm exploring in a little way in my head what that means. And I don't know what that means yet. And I think that's okay. Where did I go to school? I went to Towson University in Maryland. I originally went to Morgan State. I did not finish. I went to Morgan State straight out of high school. I've always had social anxiety issues, and just going straight into college, I did not deal with them well. I had a very bad experience and I ended up kind of dropping out. I then went and got a job working fast food. And then I went back to community college just because I was like, I didn't know what I wanted. I was again in a place where I didn't know what I wanted to do with myself next. I went back to take a class. I wasn't really trying to get my degree. And I ended up enjoying that particular experience so much, I decided to pursue my 4-year degree. And I graduated. So after I finished, I did community college for a few years, just enough to get a high GPA. And I had like a 4.0 GPA, and then I transferred into Towson University and got my 4-year degree at Towson, which was great because by the time I got to Towson, I didn't have to take any of those side classes. Like all of those were done. So I just got to take my major classes. And so I did a double major that turned into a major and a minor instead by the time I graduated. And yeah, Towson University in Maryland. There's so many people reacting to the fact that I'm 40 years old. I am 40. I was born in 1979 in October. You are not too old, and it's never too late. Do you? Yeah, I think I'm too old in that I've already done the late to the table thing. And so I'm really asking myself what'll give me the fullest life moving forward. As opposed to like, I know people, I knew other older students who were pursuing, a huge career change later in life. So it's more about like, what do I actually want now that, I'm 40? Is it actually the same thing I wanted when I was 30? Is it the same thing I wanted when I was 20? And so like, I'm really exploring that question right now. 79. You were born when I was coming out of my hippie days. Awesome. Believe it or not, Michigan has its fair share of theater and film work. I've gotten some small work, my biggest being in the Travis Scott short film for Birds in the Trap. That is awesome. And I don't disbelieve it. Like, this work happens all over the country. It's just a matter of like getting in, finding the right people, getting hired, reproving yourself. There's a point where like, if you have enough connections in the area, you're almost getting recommended. So like, whenever you go into a new area, if you don't have a bridge in through somebody, you're like starting from moment one, trying to build those connections again. And so that's sort of what it's about. Oh, wow, I'm from Maryland. Hey, neighbor. Hey, Monica. Even though I haven't been in Maryland in almost 3 years. So. I'm trying to... Are you fluent in Spanish, French, Russian language? I am not fluent in any of those. I know more French than I do of the other two. I know the alphabet. I know how to count in French. I can say "Comment allez-vous aujourd'hui?" Je parle un peu français. I don't even know if I pronounced any of that right. French is always something I've wanted to go back and get more fluent in. It was the first non-English language I was introduced to, and I think that's why I've always been a little bit better at it. I did terrible in Spanish, which makes no sense because there's so many cognates between French and Spanish. Russian, nope. So as far as the most words I know in another language, it's probably French. I'm a Libra. Just to answer that question. I am a Libra. Liz Carter says, I just came in at the 40. I will be 50 this year and life has thrown a few curveballs. I sure as hell 40 isn't too late because I have big plans for the 50. I don't think it's too late for anything. I think it's the perfect time to like change your life. If you're still alive, it's not too late. That's just the way it is. Do you get any regular work in Oakland? Oakland, Berkeley, the surrounding area. I mean, what do you call regular? I was the production manager for a small theater company in Oakland for a little bit. There were a lot of complicated reasons why I left, but mostly it was the salary didn't meet the demand of the job. And I felt like I liked stage managing more than I liked production managing. And life has proven that to be true. Like I don't actually want to be a production manager, even though it's a more secure job than stage managing. And so like ultimately left that job. So yeah, I mean like the Bay Area. I've worked down in San Jose as well. You know, Oakland, Berkeley, San Francisco, that whole nexus. So yeah, I don't know what regular is, I guess. So yeah, I probably missed some stuff, but I tried to like catch things that were questions. The laptop's getting pretty hot and it's getting pretty hard to scroll. When the CV thing is over, what are you going to do for fun? Why do I need to wait for it to be over? I'm already doing stuff that's fun. I'm going on trail walks. You know, I'm working on the van, which is actually fun. It's really fun to actually complete a project. There's plenty of time for like me to just like do stuff that is about me. So it's not like, you know, when things are really back to normal, I think that's the point where like I'm really going to have to start panicking because I don't know what my employment options are going to look like on the other side of this. Like right now there's plenty of stuff to do that's fun. Like I'm in a beautiful place. It's a new place where I don't normally live. The park is gorgeous. Every time I go down there, I'm walking down a new path that's like, oh my God, I'm like, this is gorgeous. This is gorgeous. There's all kinds of gorgeous views that I just run up on by accident. So I don't feel like it's like I'm waiting for COVID-19 to end so I can have fun. I'm waiting for it to be in a place where I can really start thinking about what my future is. And I don't even feel like I'm anywhere near that place. Right now, it's just, do I have enough to survive? Am I okay? Yes. Am I going to make it through this month? Okay. Yes. Am I going to be okay for next month if like it's a really questionable situation? Yes. The month after that, I have no idea. And so like, that's really what I don't feel like fun is gone because of it. Life is just different and I'm just adapting to the situation as it comes. Have you ever thought about teaching at a local community colleges as an adjunct professor? You definitely have the skills and your experience is invaluable. I don't know if I have the skills or the experience. That's my honest answer. Maybe I do, and I just underestimate myself. But I don't see myself as having the skills. I actually was a substitute teacher very briefly. It was for elementary school though. And I did not think I did a good job. Like I thought I did a terrible job. And it was at my sister's school. Because my sisters, when they were adopted, I was graduating high school and they were in elementary school. So I was already like, you know, late into my teen high school years. And my mom adopted these kids that were between like 3 and 5 years old. So yeah, the point is, I did a little substitute teaching at their school, and I thought I did a terrible job. And then like one of their little friends was like, "Are you ever gonna come back to the school? You were a really great substitute teacher." And I was like, "I was." You kids got me because I didn't really think I was. So yeah. Have you ever just visited, worked, or lived in Angeles or any part of Southern California? I've been to Southern California a couple of times. One of my good friends lives down there, and actually works in the TV industry. She was doing reality TV for a while, and now she's moved on to scripted TV. It is extremely hot down there, like it's insane. I was in San Diego for like a day. I spent a day in Anaheim. I didn't really have any money, so it wasn't really much I could do. But yeah, I've been to Southern California a few times. I drove down the coast and went to Arizona, which required going through LA. I went down there to visit my friend twice. And then I went one time for a job interview. I flew down there for the day and came back. So yeah, I've been to Southern California a few times. And if I had a job down there, I'd go, but I'm not like, dying to go just casually, because I've been casually. If there was a reason to go, I'd go, but I'm not like, I actually want to go back to San Diego because I did not get to spend a good amount of time there. And it wasn't the best day that I spent there, and it wasn't San Diego's fault. It was more what was going on with me at the time. Oh, awesome. That's super awesome. I didn't mean to be so loud. I am outside. There's probably people who are like, who's this crazy person sitting in front of a van, like talking to a computer screen? But it's pretty out here, isn't it? Blah, blah, blah. Do I kayak? No. I saw that it scrolled away. I've never been kayaking. I'd be interested in trying. So yeah. Really? Okay, that's interesting. There I go being loud again. Yes, you do. We compliment you all the time on your channel. Teaching at a college level in high school is totally different. That's true. Um, Maybe it's something to think about. All right, where are we at? We're at an hour and 17 minutes. Bye, Tina. Thank you for all your hard work. Um, ah, hang on. Okay. Dorian Nash, have you ever worked in the New York theater district? No, mostly because I'm not really a New York City person. I've visited New York a couple of times. And life would probably be easier. There's just more work there than anywhere else. But I hate big cities. I barely like going into San Francisco. Like San Francisco makes me feel suffocated. um, so I'm just not an NYC person at all. Do not like big cities. I like little towns. I like areas that are a little more spread out. I think it's one of the reasons I like Berkeley. Berkeley is right as far as like the amount of people, its downtown area, all that kind of stuff. It's right at the level that I like things. I hate being in downtown San Francisco. And let me premise that by downtown. I'm just not a big city person. I don't mind going and leaving, but I'm just not a fan of big cities. Cities, I don't mind. Big cities that are crowded and have a lot of people and stuff like that. It's so not my thing. Um, like if I had a job in New York City, I'd go, but I would never just go there for fun. And so, yeah, like if I got a job in New York City while I was not in New York City, I'd go to New York City to do the job, but I'd be ready to leave like the second I could. Sorry. Let me know when to come, Giggles. I'd be happy to learn. Judith says, I miss when you said your birthday was. My birthday's October the 18th. In fact, almost 2 years ago now. I got this shortly after my birthday, the van shortly after my birthday in 2018. Yeah, because October this year I will have had the van 2 years. So yeah, I got the van shortly after my birthday in 2018. So even though it's not actually true, I just sort of like combined my vaniversary and my birthday since I got them so close together. What's your life's greatest goal? Honestly, more freedom. I just right now I actually just want more freedom. I want to feel more free to do the things I want to do. And right now I don't. Like I said, time and money have never worked out in the same window. When I have money, I don't have time. When I have time, I don't have money. And my life greatest goal would be to reverse that. Is like when I have the time, I actually have. I never wanted to be rich. I have no desire to be rich. But I would love to have the security to actually explore the freedoms I want to explore in the amount of time I have to do it. I don't know if that's a that's a make sense goal. The Dawn of Vanlife, you have a great instructor. Thank you, Shay. Thank you for being a great supporter of the channel from like the very, very beginning. Thank you. That's all I have to say. All right, so we're hitting the hour and 20 minutes mark, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this live, mostly so I can get back to projects I have to do. Again, I finally tried a mango buble. I'm not sponsored by Bubbly. I keep wanting to call it buble. I don't know why, but I'm not sponsored by them. But I love their drink, and mango's awesome. And it's basically just sparkling water. I really am acting like they sponsored me, and they didn't. If you're watching, now let me. All right. So, anything else before I wrap this up? And I'm looking. Hopefully I didn't miss thanking any super chats. There was a point where the chat was kind of getting way ahead of me. So you guys are awesome. I'm working on some more stuff for the van. Home Depot screwed me over and sent me the wrong thing. So I had to return that this morning. And I have to wait for my replacement to come. But yeah. Oh, I see a last question trying to get in. What's my favorite thing to eat? I don't know. That's a horrible thing to ask me. It's not very good for me, and I'm not eating it right now because of the high caloric content, but pizza is like one of my favorite foods, I guess. Let's go with that. Pizza and cake. Not together. Those are two of my favorite things. Pizza and cake. There we go. I'm wrapping it up. Have a wonderful rest of your day, rest of your Saturday. Everybody be safe, be healthy, and all those things.